if it's not getting better by now, then we need to fix it. So then we'll be ready when the time is right. So it was a calculated decision on all parts, myself and the training staff, coaches, and all everybody. We want the best for myself and the team. So it was a calculated decision.
What have the training staff and the doctors told you about what needs to happen to make sure that you're on the field for the first game?
I mean, I gotta stay strict on my rehab schedule and just being smart about how I'm doing things and how I'm feeling. Got to kind of be a master of my body, honestly, and know what limits I can push, what limits I can't push. But there's no doubt in my mind that I'll be ready when the time is right.
I know you probably miss being out there, but we see a lot of you standing by the assistant coaches and kind of acting like another coach on the field. I'm sure you'd rather be out there, but are you enjoying that aspect?
It's kind of the only way I can enjoy it because I want to be out there, you know what I mean? Honestly, I'm probably in, as soon as after the surgery happened, I was probably in less pain than the pain I was playing with through the season. So, if I needed to be out there, say that, then I go on and get out there. But I'm gonna make sure I'm 100%. And really, it's a lot of me leaning on the training staff and the coaches because, I mean, like I said, if it was up to me, like I'd probably just go out there and thug it out again for another however many weeks I got to do it, right? But I want to be the best version of myself this year, so for myself and for my teammates. So I'm gonna just listen to what they tell me to do and be smart about it.
So Jalen, out physically right now, what are some of the toughest restrictions for you that you have to deal with basically day in and day out?
I mean, I don't really want to get into specifics, but I'm just a little limited on certain things I can do. Obviously, I can move a little bit, move my shoulders a little bit. I'm not in the sling or nothing like that. I'm progressing really well. But I do have to get to a point where I'm 100%. My shoulders get a little fatigued right now. And obviously I'm not back in football shape yet. I can't do what these guys out here doing yet. And I got to get my strength back and a couple other things so I can be the Jalen who I want to be. The Jalen out there hitting and so I don't have to change my game too much so I can, play all the roles that they need me to play in the game and not be restricted to maybe stand on the outside or having to play a certain way throughout the duration of the season or the game.
And just to follow up mentally, that can take a toll too, right? When you can't be out there doing everything you want.
I'm good.
How do you kind of ride through that part?
I'm good, man. I got my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I know He got me. God always got me. I got my family and my friends and the best teammates, coaches, and staff around me. So I'm cool. Whenever the time right, it'll be right. I ain't tripping off of it.
Jalen, when you signed in 2020, you reset the market for cornerbacks, and that market has kind of evolved since. The Rams spent a lot of money in the offseason extending cornerstone players. Are you do you want an extension as well? And if so, what's kind of your timeline?
When the time right. That's what I say about everything that's going on. When the time right, things will happen in due time. I'll let the people who need to handle those things handle them, but I got to handle what I got to handle, you know what I mean? And right now, for me, that's being a good teammate, getting this shoulder right, getting this rehab right, so I can go have another good season and help this team in as many ways as possible.
And what do you think of that the market, how the cornerback market has evolved since you signed?
I'm happy for any of the guys who get paid. They work extremely hard, make a lot of sacrifices, and they earn it. So I'm extremely happy for them. I wish it was even higher. I wish they was even getting a little bit more.
Jalen, and some of the extra coaching that you were doing towards the end of practice, I saw you pulling Kobe aside a few times. I mean, I know it's early in camp and you haven't spent too much time around him, but what have you kind of learned about him as a player?
He's a competitor. He's a sneaky, like super athletic. He's very smart. He wants to soak up a lot of knowledge. But honestly, not just him. That's everybody. Him, DK, continuing to develop and help Scooter. Just because, like y'all saw last year, we went through a lot of injuries where guys couldn't play in certain games, or guys had COVID, like myself, and other guys had to step up. So. I think every corner who was active on our roster played at some point last year, right? So having the depth like that and having these guys where we can really trust them, and I hate when I hear like on a broadcast or something like they really missing this guy or they really missing that guy. Like I hate that. I like when it's kind of seamless. Like maybe there's like a top dog, right? But then everybody else like right under that is like all at a steady level, which is an extremely high level of playing the position. So that's kind of the goal for our whole unit.
Do you have
a couple more.
a play script? I mean, you're out there kind of doing the tactical stuff with the coaches, and do you have a play script as well?
Got my script.
And like, what part of that though? I mean, obviously you'd love to be out there, but what part of that specifically, that tactical stuff, and then also seeing how guys move with each other, do you maybe appreciate right now, even if you can't appreciate the full contact?
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciate it, and I kind of know the playbook like the back of my hand, so that's really why I carry the script, so I can help the other guys. I know star, corner, whatever position in the secondary, so that's really why I carry the script, so I can know exactly the play, so I can know like the certain techniques that I feel like they should have been using or that could have helped them, or if they got beat on the play, why they got beat. Like I can kind of really analyze it within the play, so I can give them feedback as soon as they come off the field, instead of me having to wait until we get to the meeting room.
Jalen, the deadline that you put on yourself, as far as it wasn't healing on its own, it's time for surgery now, is that all in mind that the deadline's there so that way you can't get back to week 1 of this season? Is that kind of...
For sure, yeah, it was definitely all calculated within regards to like, all right, next season this is when you want to be ready. This is about the time that I need to be peaking, or when I need to be doing certain things. So that definitely had a part in it, for sure.
The fact that you didn't start training camp on Kupp is probably a good sign that everything's going on track to be there week 1.
Yeah, definitely everything's going on track. Everything's running smoothly. That whole Kupp situation, that was more like, I thought it was for like a roster spot, but then it was not. So then it was like, if I don't got to be on PUP, coach hit me up like, we don't need to put you on PUP. So I was like, don't put me on PUP. I thought it was helping them by having me on PUP, like to get my roster spot. And he was like, nah, I don't want to put you on PUP. So I was just like, cool, I ain't no puppy anyway, so let's get it.
Jalen, last one. What was the most enjoyable part of this offseason for you as a Super Bowl champion?
Honestly, my most enjoyable part had nothing to do with the Super Bowl at all. It was just spending time with my kids, spending time with my daughters. That was my favorite part of the offseason. It ain't had nothing to do with the Super Bowl at all. My daughters still call it the supermarket, so I ain't even worried about none of that.
All good?
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
How you guys doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, good.
How was your summer?
Oh, summer was great. Went to Australia, as you guys saw. That was a lot of fun. Coming off the Super Bowl and having opportunities that come with that, and everything that did for me and my family and everything served as great motivation for approaching this season, this off season, and this camp. So it was a good time, a lot of work, and also a good amount of fun.
Nick, it looks like right away in camp your role is expanding, sort of building off of what you accomplished at the end of last season. What has that been like for you, and kind of what are you hoping to carry into this season?
Yeah, I would just say, the biggest honor, first and foremost, for me is just, having a role on this team. And I think sometimes it can get overlooked, regardless of whether you're on the field for special teams or defense. So, first and foremost, however, this team looks on our first Sunday or Thursday night or whatever it is, it'll be a huge testament to those guys that fought hard, earned roles, and are owning their role for the team.
Nick, how was it having Jalen Ramsey out there as a coach at DB?
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, he's got a big personality. We all love him to death, but he's also got an amazing amount of insight. Just with as much time that he's spent in the league and the things he's done on the field, it's definitely great to kind of have that current player perspective of your defense and technique and things like that.
The willingness to learn, especially the rookie DBs, seems pretty impressive. What
Yeah.
stands out in that regard?
Yeah, I think those guys have been extremely impressive. It's only day 2, but a lot of those guys should be really, really proud of how they kind of approach the beginning of camp. Those guys are wicked smart, athletic, and just, they're having fun and enjoying the process. So it's been an honor to meet those guys and be able to help them out along the way. I'm excited to see, how their future plays out from here.
It's like Darian Kendrick had a couple of really good battles today.
Yeah.
What have you seen? I know it's way early. But
Yeah.
in terms of him coming out of his shell a little bit, what have you seen
Right.
from him so far?
I mean, dude, when I met him, he was already out of his shell. And that's the thing you love about him is just, playing that DB position, you got to have a level of confidence. And he came right on the field. He was confident. That's just kind of his personality. And, it only helps him on the field. So real excited about him and what he can do. And, he'll just continue to grow. And, hopefully he'll be able to help us out wherever he can.
What's a specific example of that confidence you talk about that he showed right away? Was it like a play he made or just like mannerism or anything like that?
There's been a couple plays. I mean, he's been out here going up against A-Rob in one-on-ones. He had a jump ball down in the corner. And, those 50-50 balls, A-Rob is one of the best in the league at making that catch. And, he stayed with him, did a good job, and ended up being an incomplete pass. So that was kudos to him, just a guy coming on this field as a rookie and making plays against big-time players.
Collectively as a defense, I know it's early here in camp, but how do you gauge where you guys are in that learning curve?
Right.
And putting in, as Coach McVay has said to us in the past, putting in those steps, those foundation for when you get to the regular season.
Yeah, just taking it one day at a time. I mean, one thing that is great is no secret is we've had a lot of guys return and we're still running the same defense. So there is an advantage in that. Guys with their comfort level and understanding of the intricacies of the defense. So you can definitely see it. I think we're a lot, further along on day 1 and 2, just from an understanding standpoint that we have been in the past 2 years, which is great. But, like every team, we got new guys on the team and everything like that. So trying to get those guys acclimated and just continue to, improve mentally and physically.
Nick, a couple of
Couple more.
times, a couple of teammates have described like Bobby Wagner's flow in the middle as a little bit of a zen pocket.
Yeah.
What does it look like from when you're playing from depth to watch him move in front of you?
Yeah, he's just a guy with a tremendous amount of experience, so he's trusting what he's looking at. So he's just playing real calm, and he's going to make the right decision just based off of his experience and how he likes to play. But, I don't know if the offense would kind of describe it as a zen, because I've seen that dude put his pads on people, and it's everything but that. So I'm real excited about having Bobby on his team as a leader, as a teammate, friend, and everything like that. So it should be great these next couple of weeks.
All set?
Cool. Appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Nick.
Thanks.
That's mine.
Oh, that's you. My bad. It's a habit. That's so disgusting, isn't it?
Sean, is everything okay with Sean Robinson?
Yeah, we're just being smart with him, so yeah, he's good right now.
How's it feel being back?
Feels good. It was, I think what you're always trying to do in camp is just stack blocks, and I thought today was better than yesterday. Still going to be a lot of things for us to be able to improve on, but we were able to get a little bit more work today. Guys had a good bounce in their step, and there's a lot of good things that we can clean up.
Sean, like just returning to Irvine, just having the target on your back going into this season.
I don't think our guys really think of it that way. I think last year was last year. This is a brand new year. I think you've got to always adjust and adapt every single year in this league if you want to try to, be a team that's relevant towards the latter half of the year. But we know that it's just one day at a time, and I know our guys believe that. I know our coaches do too. But this is a really important time to build the right foundation so that we can be healthy and ready to go on September 8th.
You said that one of the reasons you didn't want Jalen on the pup list is going to be out on the practice field. What goes through your mind when you're seeing him kind of like an assistant coach on the sideline helping?
I think that's exactly what you want. That's Jalen's personality. He loves football. All our guys do, but especially him. And just to be able to be out here influences guys in the right way, Sarah, it's a real positive. You see how engaged he is in some of the jog-through stuff that we're able to do. But him just being able to be around his teammates with the kind of leader, kind of player that he is, nothing but good things come from that.
Where's some target points you want to see from those guys in particular, but also your secondary as a whole?
Yeah, I think just continuing to communicate, play as one. We've got a lot of different coverage contours that we're playing on the back end, Rashawn, but these guys all love football. I think, Chris Shula and Jonathan Cooley and Lance Schulters have done a great job helping these guys get up to speed quickly. But when you look at guys like DK, Durant, Rush East, even as a safety, had some really good breaks today. But these guys, the game makes sense to them. They're really comfortable back there, and they're getting a lot of reps against some really good players with the way that we've got practice situated right now. But they'll continue to get better. But I just want to see these guys continue to improve one day at a time, be great communicators, have great command, and execute the techniques and the fundamentals that these guys are being coached to do.
What'd you make of Logan Russ in there at the end, and with AD moving the way that he does and everything? How do you kind of stand up to any of that?
Well, I think AD is a tough matchup for anybody, but you're not going to get a tougher look. So I think that's a good thing. Aaron's always practiced at such a high level in everything that he does, and Logan's a quick study, but there's no way that you can replicate going against Aaron Donald.
Sean, what is the process that you use getting you guys acclimated to your culture here with the Rams?
I think it's really more than anything just the way that we do things, and part of it too is how you onboard guys. It's stuff that usually comes natural. Guys that have accountability, that have coachability, that are great communicators. Those are the kind of things that we're looking for in our players. But I think more than anything, it's one thing to have it on a wall or say it, but it's more about how we do things on a daily basis and then how they embody it and bring it to life. And so these veterans, their teammates, the guys that have been here are the best examples. And usually, the best thing is I always say I see better than I hear. And when you watch the way that the veterans handle themselves, if these rookies kind of mimic and emulate that while still being themselves, they're going to be good fits here.
Along those lines, with a guy like Bobby Wagner or Allen Robinson, coached against them and
Yep.
what they can do on the field, is there something maybe that you picked up in this short amount of time that was maybe something you didn't know about them? It could be on or off the field.
I would just say they've kind of been all that and much more what I would have expected, because part of it, playing against Bobby so many times over the last handful of years, I'd always seek him out after games and just been so impressed with the way that he's handled himself, the way that he's used his platform, and then obviously the production speaks for himself. Got to know Allen a little bit better and then really, did some research on people that have been around him. He's got a great demeanor in the meeting room, got a great way about going about his business, great personality. So both these guys fit the mold in terms of, they're pros. They've played at a really high level for a long period of time. And then when you get around them, you see why they've been so good, because they're special people more than anything else.
Sean, you guys extended several of your star players over the offseason. Do you have any conversation with Jalen about his situation and timetables and how he might be similar?
Oh, yeah. I think you guys know, Gary, Jalen is always so engaged in wanting our team to be as good as possible. As far as his contract, dealing him a couple years ago, still at that upper echelon, but it hasn't been anything that's discussed about like a new deal with him. But I know he, to my understanding, he feels really good about everything. He's fully immersed himself in what we're doing and really trying to get as many good players. He was one of the guys that's calling about, hey, can we get Bobby here? He's always kind of looking at the landscape of the league. You know how instrumental he was last year in helping Vaughn and Odell kind of get here, but haven't talked about anything like that with him, but always in constant dialogue with Jalen.
Do you get a good energy sense from Taylor Rapp, just the way he practices and sort of seems sometimes like he makes that extra effort to up the level of intensity, even though obviously no contact, things like that? And how has that safety group sort of started to unfold and collaborate with each other as they've all spent so much time together at this point?
Yeah, it's been fun to see. I think when you look at Taylor, Nick Scott and Jordan Fuller, and Terrell Burgess is a guy that's taken really positive steps, but those three having played so many snaps, you can feel the confidence and the ability to communicate, anticipate things that the offense might do pre-snap and how that might alter or adjust whatever that defensive call is that Raheem gave them. And you can feel that. There's just a good energy. And when you speak with such confidence, that lets you know things are slowing down. You're able to just react instead of sometimes guys can really slow down and overthink things, but that certainly is the exact opposite of what's going on with them. But whether it's Taylor, Nick Scott, Fuller, three guys that are really shining, and Chris Shula has done an excellent job with that group.
Where is Robert Rochelle in his development?
He's really done a good job, Dennis. I think the positive thing, it sounds like I'm being positive about everybody, but because we have the right kind of guys, they have taken steps in the right direction. You can see the amount of time that Robert Rochelle's really put into just his overall body control, understanding what we're trying to get done, playing with the techniques and the fundamentals, similar to what I was just saying about the safeties. Game's slowing down to him. He's understanding how to recognize concepts, where his playoffs might fall within the framework of some of these coverages that we're playing, and I've been really encouraged with the first 2 days of Robert Rochelle's camp so far.
Sean, with Liam being your OC this year, how's that going so far?
It's going great. Liam's always a guy that I leaned really heavily on. For the 3 years that we were together, we stayed in great touch. And when you have somebody like that, in addition to a handful of other guys on the offensive staff, you feel so good about allowing him to be able to lead. If I've got to want to be with the defense, special teams, or inevitably other things come up, and he's a great coach. Wanted to do everything I could to get him back here, and fortunately, it's worked out.
All right.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Everyone?
Hey, Cooper. How's it going?
Good.
Cooper, I know we've asked you this every time we see you probably, but what do you make of Allen Robinson so far, and are you starting to click in a little bit into that nonverbal communication?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's doing a great job. We threw everything at him. I mean, at everyone. I mean, we installed very quickly, and his ability to just kind of pick the stuff up and go with it. It says a lot about him. And it's hard to play this game when you've got a lot going through your mind. You're processing a ton of things, and for him to be playing how he is, where I know that he's processing stuff still, so you have to be just human. I mean, there's too much information too quickly, and for him to be doing what he's doing out here this early, it's a pretty special thing. So that's just going to continue to get better and better. And yeah, so it's just a lot of fun being on the field with him.
And what do you feel in the? I know it's a small sample size right now, and especially in team drills. But what do you feel in terms of the spacing with you guys doing the different things that you do, and him being versatile, but also some of that prototypical longer body type?
Yeah. Well, I mean, he can do a lot of different stuff. I mean, he's able to do the stuff underneath. He's able to run just about any route tree that we would throw at him. I feel like everything's up for him. I mean, there's nothing that I feel like you know, there's certain strengths and weaknesses, and you want to try to put guys in the best positions possible. But I think with his, skill set, he can kind of do everything. Whatever you want, whatever you're going to ask of him, he's able to step up and execute it. So he's doing a good job with that, and the way that we distribute the field and do things like that. I mean, he's getting to the right spots. He understands kind of how to do that. He just has an innate feel for that kind of thing. So that's kind of just comes naturally for him, just feeling out where guys are and where he's supposed to be.
Some of the coaching staff have described him as being very detail oriented. Is there anywhere that you've noticed that specifically in the time you spent with him?
Yeah, I think you can see it in the questions he asks. He's not asking the questions about what he has. It's the questions of the minute, the little details of a route. It's like, yeah, he did it right, but he wants to know how he can do it just a little bit better. How can he do it versus every different look? What are the goals of this play? How is he? If you understand the goals and the intent behind a play, you're able to, as a football player, kind of understand how you're supposed to run the little nuances to that route. And I think that to me is the biggest tell. It's just the questions that he's asking and the details behind that.
I think we've all seen the detail, how detail-oriented you are when it comes to playing this game, given the year you had last season. Is there something you now do different because defenses will prepare for you maybe more this upcoming season, given your numbers last year? Is there something you do different going into this season, or is it still status quo?
No, I don't think you. I mean, you're always trying to improve, certainly, and the way that you train, the things that you do, you always want to be more efficient than you were the year before. But I think the goal stays the same. I think that the finding ways to win, always knowing when a play is called for you and you're supposed to win, you win, and then finding ways to win when you're not supposed to win as well. And I think that's kind of the thing that's kind of grown as our offense has grown. It's been like, how can you give coach the greatest range of success on a certain play? He sends the play call in, the expectation is cover 2, cover 3, whatever. Like, hey, these 2 coverages, we know this is a winner. How can you be that guy that says, hey, if we get 0, 4, if we get fire zones, if we get any of this other stuff, I'm gonna find a way to win on these plays as well. And so that's kind of the approach that I take, is trying to play comes in, it's like, hey, look, no matter what you're gonna run, I'm gonna find a way to win. And I just want to continue to do that. There's gonna be times play against too good of football players that you're not going to be able to win every time, but finding ways to keep that scope as wide as possible.
Is there anything when you look back on last season that you think you didn't do well, a part of your game that was lacking?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of parts of my game that were lacking. I think little details in the run game, especially angles that you're coming off the ball at, understanding who you're attacking. As soon as the ball is snapped, you can win or lose a route based on your first 2 steps. Or make it very hard on yourself to win at the end of it. So understanding the nuances of some of that kind of stuff, I think I got to do a better job at feeling the space and some of the timing stuff. I think I can show up in some things a little faster. I think there's some concepts we have that understanding tempo and being able to slow some things down as well, being able to change up some of my counters. And there's a lot of stuff that I think there's a lot of room to improve on.
We talked a lot about Matthew's performance after critical error, and I wouldn't go so far as to say yesterday was indicative of any of that, but coming out today after sort of shaking the rust off a little bit yesterday, what did you feel from him, and how did today go for him in terms of kind of starting to get a little looser?
Yeah, well, I mean, he hasn't been able to throw for a while now. It's completely different. You can't simulate what it's like throwing against a live defense until you get out here and do it. And so for a lot of guys, there's a lot of guys that, during OTAs, that's all we got was, being able to jog through stuff. So there's going to be a little bit of that, getting back to feeling that, processing as quickly as possible. And for Matthew being able to feel those live throws and speeding things up and manipulating people and manipulating his arm like he does. So that's going to come. I mean, I know it's going to be leaps and bounds as things get going here. So everyone wants to be in midseason form day one, and it's just not realistic. So we just got to be patient, take things one day at a time, and just continue to lay bricks.
How enjoyable was this offseason for you, Cooper? Whether it be red carpets, what have you? People say Cooper Kupp, Super Bowl champion. How did you kind of absorb all that?
Yeah, I despise red carpets. I can't stand them. We went to the ESPYs on the 20th, and my wife and I said this might be the last one we ever do. So let's just enjoy this first and last one, because I hate getting dressed up. But what was fun about this off season was being able to, we were here, we were in California, we were able to be around a lot of the people, all the guys, just our community, and I was able to work out at the facility, be around a lot of coaches, and just the relationships I have with the community here, the people here, and along with the guys, the coaches. I love to be around them. So it made it a lot of fun just being able to be around my people, for my wife and our boys to be around their friends and stuff. It was enjoyable in that respect, and getting great work in and being able to work towards pursuing another Super Bowl.
Did you stay here this offseason?
Yes.
Fully to train, or did you go to Oregon?
Yeah, so I went up for about a month and then came back down.
Cooper, understanding it's still early, what have you seen out of Darion Kendrick? Seems like everybody's talking a lot about the confidence he's shown right away.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Just what have you seen early on from Darion Kendrick, from the rookie defensive backs? I know it's early, but he seems to have a lot of confidence already.
Yeah. DBs with confidence, you said?
Yeah. I know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's so many guys over on that side of the ball. It seems like we brought in, 20, 30 DBs this year, I think. So it's been good. I mean, those guys, they're competing. It's a lot of fun to go against them. A lot of energy, a lot of talking. It's a lot of fun for as an offense going against guys that want to compete and are hungry too. So it's going to be fun. I mean, it's only day 2, and you've been able to run routes a few times against them. But as the season goes on and you get more reps against these guys, it's going to be fun competing against them.
Is there more
Just a couple more.
Is there more trash talk from Jalen Ramsey, the cornerback, going up against you, or the assistant coach on the sideline?
Jalen's not out there. He's been pretty good so far. Raheem's a big talker. Raheem's always going to throw his words out. He's always going to be talking. So the DBs stay talking. That's just what they do. I think I said it during OTAs. Receivers, we walk quietly, stay silent, but carry a big stick. That's our thing. Good.
That's it.
Perfect.
Cool.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.